All right, everybody, welcome in. I'm joined here by Ron Ace Sports today. We're going to talk about some college football bowl previews. We're going to look at the bowl games for Tuesday, December 21st. Um, Thanks for everybody being here. Looking forward to breaking down some games with Ron. Really respect Ron's work and looking forward to getting his insight on some of these. I'll be posting this to my YouTube channel. We'll also post portions of this to the Sports Wagering U YouTube channel, I believe. And so hopefully this will be helpful to everybody. Ron, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's Monday of a very, very busy football week, bowl week before the holidays, and a lot of TV watching.
Yeah, definitely. I got to try to get all the work done so that I can watch the games enough. Sometimes I get frustrated that I'm not done with the work early enough for college hoops or something, so I miss some of the bowl games. So I got to try to get that done. And obviously, with Christmas here this weekend, and the kids are going to be off school here for me, and so it's a crazy week, that's for sure. But I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here with me today. So let's talk here first in general, Ron. I'm kind of curious. What's your approach to bowl season betting as it compares to regular season? I know for myself, in regular season, I like to bet these games pretty early in the week. I like to try to get down and I get a lot of closing line value. In bowl season, I'm always afraid to do that because, you wonder what's the next shoe to drop, who's going to be opting out, who's going to be suspended, who's going to test positive for COVID. All these things are things that go into it that wouldn't usually in the regular season. So how do you approach that?
uh, okay, feed went out just for a second, but yeah, as far as my approach, it's as methodical as I use for the regular season. And I agree with you. I like to bet some of these early, just looking at my power ratings. I try to look for that. Try to speculate as to which teams are going to be more motivated than others and get involved in the early line movement that way. And from there, then I start data mining. I look at each team and I look at what they were good at, how they improved from one year to the next. There could be some differences right there. I look at the projections I made for each team, how many yards per carry, what their pass defense was, what my expectations were, and I see whether they met them, exceeded them, or did not exceed them. And then there's the typical things for bowls, the motivation. We've seen a number of examples. I think I can walk you through two or three examples right now as to what's already happened. You looked at Western Kentucky, for example, a very unique offense that Appalachian State was not used to playing. How would that track? And I started to mine that game a little bit and to look and see whether or not Western Kentucky had an edge in terms of the passing game and what they brought to the table. And actually, that worked out. Then you have to worry about late news and opt-outs. This is a new thing over the last 2 years, not only just COVID, but you look at the Fresno State situation from a couple of days ago. The coin toss, we find out that the leading running back for Fresno, Ron Rivers, he's out. He's in street clothes. So all of a sudden, Fresno is not having their leading back. I have no play on the game. I have to resort to in-game wagering to look at that. And luckily enough, I was able to work that out to my satisfaction in terms of betting early, betting late. But you have to be on top of this 24/7 all of a sudden because of these late opt-outs. And then the final example is really about Florida and Oklahoma from last year when we saw that Florida's entire team, their top three wide receivers, everybody but their quarterback basically didn't play in that game against Oklahoma. And you saw a line movement of about 10 points. And now you have a Nevada team this year that's going to be without their head coach, who took a sideways job to Colorado State. At least one coordinator and an offensive line coach, they're gone. Their quarterback, Carson Strong, is preparing for the NFL. And to date, we don't even know if one or two or three wide receivers are going to play or not going to play. We've seen massive line movement there. So basically, that would be my approach, not only looking at the data, but looking at the circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's several good examples there, and I give you credit for liking Western Kentucky from the jump because I was kind of unsure of that game based on all their guys that were going to transfer, but they were going to play this last game. I didn't know what their motivation level would be. They were fired up to be there, that's for sure. App State had no chance of stopping them throughout that game. That was the game that I just passed on, but I wish I had that one like you did. Let's get into talking about a couple of these games here for Tuesday. We'll start with Wyoming and Kent. I believe this is the Potato Bowl, correct? In Boise, Idaho. So I'll start breaking this one down, and we can just go back and forth a little bit here. But Craig Bowl is 3-0 ATS at Wyoming. He was a covering machine in the postseason at FCS as well. The joke is, his name is Bowl. He should be good at getting ready for bowl games, right? Look back at Wyoming's season, though, Ron. And I feel like they should have been better than they were this season. I think Wyoming, I had higher hopes for them this year than what they were. They squeaked past UConn. They lost to Hawaii 38-14. They lost to New Mexico, which was New Mexico's only cover of the year. Just wild there. At the same time, they beat a Utah State team by 27 points in Logan, the same Utah State team that just beat Oregon State the other day. I'm confident that Wyoming is a better team than what we saw for much of this season. So can they put together a better effort here? I do think the deck is kind of stacked in their favor. The MAC is 32-45 against the spread in bowl games since 2005. Kent State gets sent to play a game on the Smurf turf there in Boise, a long ways away from Kent State. I should know that. I'm not too far away from Kent State myself. That's a long ways away. Wyoming plays here all the time, right? So it could kind of seem like a bit of a home game for Wyoming. I think you have to give Wyoming at least some home field advantage in this game. And Kent State was a big season win total play for me over. I got over 5 and then over 5.5 some as well. Ron, I know you're big on these season win totals as well. And I did well on season win totals this year. I don't think I did as good as you did, but done very well in season win totals long term. But I kind of think even though I won that Kent State season win total, that Kent was a little worse than I expected them to be this season. Dustin Crum regressed a bit from what he was there a couple years ago. And the defense is just terrible against both the run and the pass. Kent State really, really undersized defensive line. There's one thing that Wyoming usually does pretty well. It's run the football. They're 30th in run blocking grade at PFF. I think Wyoming runs the football a lot in this game. I don't think they want to throw it much at all. I don't think Kent State can stop them consistently. Now, it's fair to say that Wyoming's defense has not been very good this year, and I do think Kent will move the ball quite a bit as well. If I had to bet the total, I think I would lean to the over. I can't bet unders on Kent State games. I've watched too many of their games with that, flash fast with Sean Lewis. I think Lewis is a good coach. I think Bowles a good coach. So I am looking forward to this game. What are your thoughts on this one, Ron?
Well, first of all, I think we're really in sync with expectations of the teams. I, too, had Kent State going over, one of my very few overplays for the year.
Yeah.
And they squeaked by, and they did it offensively because their defense is still kind of a bottom feeder, really, if you look at it. If you look at 5 MAC bowl teams that they played, 5 that are bowl eligible, they allowed, I think it came out to 50 points a game that they allowed in those. So they have not fixed their defense. Crum has regressed slightly, and I'm slightly disappointed, even though they have tremendous run-pass balance, that he only threw for 16 touchdowns on the whole year. He has loads of experience, and he shouldn't be at all, what's the right word to say? And the bowl setting is not too big for him, especially this kind of bowl. It's not a major bowl. So I do think that we will find a team that will have tremendous run-pass balance, but is so susceptible to the run. And Wyoming is such a run-first team that they're going to give up points. They have to give up points. So it's up to Crum to really move the ball against a Wyoming defense that is a little bit better against the pass than the run. So if Kent State is able to set up the run, that does bode well for Crum's experience to go through. Like you with Wyoming, I expected 8-4 and didn't get it. And I don't understand. They practically laid down against a Hawaii team at the end of the year that was kind of frustrating to me. They have tremendous backfield experience. Yet it seems like the amount of damage they do on the ground doesn't always translate into points. This is a team that's been fairly much on the low end of the point scale. Even if you factor out some of the cold weather games that they will play late in the year. And even that Hawaii game was played in about 40 degrees. It was actually summer for them, being mid-November when you can play 40 degrees and not much wind. I actually like their second running back, Swen, a little bit better than Valladay, who's the workhorse, the guy who can ground and pound and get you the 3-4 yards. So I think they bring to the table a team that if they want to run all day, they can amass 250 yards in this particular game. Mostly we're going to see clean pockets. These teams are not great at sacking their opponents. When you see clean pockets like that, then you know that the pass could work, the play action pass could work. So I do expect a few splash plays in this game at all. While I lean toward Wyoming, I probably have a stronger lean to the over because I do think that we will see some splash plays in this particular game. And the big thing will be, can Crum elevate his game just a little bit more? Because I think he's going to have to keep up. I think Wyoming does score a lot in this game. Kent State's pocket has not always been clean, but like I said, these teams haven't really had a lot of rush success. So I think we could see more of a wide open game. Even if it's run centric, I think you could see some big running plays in this game.
Yeah, I would think that's the case as well. I think Kent will have a decent amount of success running as well. I think Wyoming will run and maybe hit them with a play action pass or two here or there. Wyoming doesn't want to throw it very much, but I think they could have some success if they're running the ball on 70% of their downs, and then all at once they hit them with a deep ball. I think in this game the turnover margin will be key as well. We'll see who can take care of the football. I don't think either of these teams have been great at forcing turnovers. To my knowledge, this is a Wyoming team that has played quite a few lower scoring games in past seasons, but Wyoming has played some high scoring games this year. I mean, they've had some higher scoring games than what you would think. 59 is really not that high of a total for a Kent State game. So I'm going to lean toward the over in this one and lean toward Wyoming as well.